Every successful team in NBA history had a great point guard to run the offense and distribute the basketball. Today we're going to be counting down the top 10 greatest point guards in NBA history. Number 10, Kyrie Irving. Since Kyrie Irving left Cleveland, his career has taken a downwards turn. However, his accomplishments that he made in Cleveland with LeBron James was good enough to put him at number 10. The legendary comeback against the Golden State Warriors after being down 3-1 in the 2016 NBA Finals is still one of the greatest feats in NBA history. In the historic Game 7, Kyrie posted 26 points and had 6 rebounds while hitting the single most clutch shot in the history of the league. In the current day, Kyrie Irving has re-signed with the Dallas Mavericks and has a real chance to help Luka Doncic win his first NBA championship. Number 9, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook has become quite the polarizing player as his turnover rates are too high for some, but his ridiculous MVP season in 2017 with the Oklahoma City Thunder was groundbreaking. It was thought that nobody would ever average a triple-double in a season ever again after the great Oscar Robertson did it in the 1960s, but Russ defied those odds and ended the season with a stupid 31.6 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 10.4 assists. However, Russ hasn't been able to lead his teams to an NBA championship, which is why he is lower on the list. If Russ can win a championship, he will jump up, but until then, this is where he lands for me. Number 8, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas was the leader of the successful Detroit Pistons of the 1980s that won 2 championships in 1989 and 1990. Although the bad boy Pistons were criticized for the way they played and were even called dirty, Zeke was skilled nonetheless. In Game 6 of the 1988 NBA Finals versus the Lakers in LA, Isaiah Thomas scored 25 points in one quarter on a severely sprained ankle. Although the Pistons would go on to lose that series, they would beat the Lakers in the following NBA Finals. Isaiah Thomas was ahead of his time as he was one of the first scoring point guards while also boasting an elite passing game. Isaiah's career averages were 19.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, and a stunning 9.3 assists over his 13-year career. Number 7, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was a tremendous point guard for the Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, New York Knicks, but most notably the New Jersey Nets before they would relocate to Brooklyn. Jason Kidd would lead his Nets to 2 NBA Finals but were beaten by the dominant Western Conference of the 2000s. In the latter part of his career, Jason would team up with Dirk Nowitzki and win the 2011 NBA Championship. As together, Dallas beat the super team Miami Heat in 6 games. Kidd was a great point guard who was always close to averaging a triple-double against any side. His passing was otherworldly as he led the NBA in assists per game 5 times. Moreover, Kidd ranks second in the number of assists in NBA history. Number 6, Steve Nash. If you ask Shaquille O'Neal about Steve Nash, Shaq won't be happy, but the truth is Nash won 2 MVPs over the Diesel in the primes of their careers. He led the NBA in assists per game 5 times in his career, which is 4th most in NBA history. He is one of 5 NBA players to reach 10,000 assists across his career, and he ranks 3rd with 10,335 assists. Prime Steve Nash was a blur as he wasn't the most athletic player on the court, but he was definitely the fastest. He led the late 2000s 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. However, Steve wasn't able to bring Phoenix a title during the dominant Western Conference of the 2000s, but the skills and quickness he possessed along with the 2 MVPs gets in the 6th spot. Number 5, Chris Paul. The newly instated Golden State Warrior is truly one of the greatest point guards of league history. For younger fans, you may have never seen a prime CP3. In the late 2000s of the New Orleans Hornets, the point guard was truly one of the best players in the NBA right away. Chris Paul boasts a legendary playmaking ability while being one of the very best mid-range shooters the NBA has ever seen. Although Chris Paul has not been able to win a championship, the journey is not over yet. He has led the NBA in assists per game 4 times and 3 times in total assists. His average of 11.6 assists per game in the 2007-08 campaign is the 4th highest since 2000. Number 4, Oscar Robertson. The Big O was the first player in history to average a triple-double over an entire season. Oscar played for the Cincinnati Royals and later the Milwaukee Bucks, where he played alongside a young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, where in 1971 the Bucks would win a championship and go down as one of the greatest teams in NBA history. Although Oscar was in his twilight years in 1971, he was still a super important part of the team's success. Although Oscar Robertson's game wasn't flashy and there isn't many memorable highlights, many players from that era will tell you he was the best player they've ever seen. Robertson led the NBA in assists per game 7 times over his 14 years in the league, while also leading the league in assists 6 times in his career. Number 3, John Stockton. The point guard of the Utah Jazz is mainly remembered for losing to Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls in 1997 and 98. However, the truth was John Stockton was an all-time floor general. Stockton leads the NBA in total assists with 15,806 and in steals with 3,265. Older folk who watched John Stockton's career will tell you the reason he got his assist was because he played with Karl Malone. Malone was a longtime teammate on the Jazz and is the 3rd leading scorer in NBA history, which was due to the point guard skills of John Stockton. The two would run the pick and roll over and over again, and for the majority of the 1990s, nobody could figure out how to stop them. The two helped each other's legacies, and without each other, we wouldn't be talking about the pair as much as we do today. The leadership and court vision of John Stockton was what propelled these two into superstardom. Number 2, Stephen Curry. We all know what Stephen Curry is capable of. Some will say that Curry's prime was in 2015 to 2018. However, we believe Curry is still in the prime of his career. In Game 7 versus the Sacramento Kings, Steph would erupt for 50 points in the closeout game, blowing the Kings off the court and and proving why Steph is one of the greatest point guards and scorers the NBA has ever seen. Curry was incredibly successful in the postseason, winning 4 championships for the Golden State Warriors. Curry would, however, receive help from the MVP Kevin Durant during that time, but it was still Curry's team. Although Curry would eventually receive the Finals MVP in 2022, Curry probably should have won the award over Andre Iguodala in 2015. But what sets Stephen Curry apart from most is the unbelievable shooting ability he possesses. Curry is the all-time leader in three-point makes, and his career has a long way to go yet. Number 1, Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was the point guard of Showtime who would win 5 championships over the 1980s, dominating that era. Magic was the best passer the NBA has ever seen, dropping incredible dimes, running the fast break like no other. Magic would create easy points for his teammates, making highlight plays that would be remembered for generations. He led the NBA in assists 4 times while having the highest career average of assists with 12.2 per game. Magic was at his best during the 1987-88 season, but that wasn't the greatest individual season as it only ranked 7th of all time. Watch this video next to see the full rankings of the top 10 greatest individual seasons in NBA history.